Tonight, breaking news on the Supreme Court battle after the vote. Brett Kavanaugh will be the High Court's next justice. From outrage to celebration, reactions from all sides. Even the First Lady, who rarely talks politics, weighing in from the sands of Egypt. Keeping our kids safe, how officials are using new technology to make sure they always know who's in the building. Risking it all to help victims of the unthinkable. An important conversation with one of this year's Nobel Peace Prize winners. It's one of the most popular drinks in America, but a new lawsuit alleges that LaCroix sparkling water isn't quite what it says it is. And saving the ocean's treasures, how scientists may have found a way to bring dying coral quickly back to life.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening, everyone. Brett Kavanaugh has just been sworn in at a private ceremony as an Associate Justice on the U.S. Supreme Court, hours after his confirmation by the full Senate, voting in a dramatic Saturday session 50-48, cementing Kavanaugh's lifelong appointment to the nation's highest court. Vice President Pence presiding over the historic moment set against the backdrop of protests on the Capitol steps. But neither demonstrators nor opposing Democratic senators could halt the momentum of recent days that pushed Kavanaugh past allegations of sexual misconduct. It's a victory for him, for Senate Republicans and President Trump, who watched the vote while aboard Air Force One en route to Kansas. In a tweet, Mr. Trump congratulating the U.S. Senate for confirming, quote, our great nominee. Kelly O'Donnell leads us off tonight. Kelly?
Good evening, Lester. President Trump did watch from his Air Force One cabin, surrounded by reporters, as Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed. The president has now put his imprint on the Supreme Court with two conservative justices. He will take a victory lap tonight at a rally in Kansas after what he called a horrible attack by Democrats on his new justice. On this day to tally the final votes, thousands marched on the U.S. Capitol demanding to be counted. Scores arrested after charging the Capitol steps, trying to wield last-minute influence against the odds.
Never over until the votes are counted.
This fight is not over. This is one battle, but we are going to keep going.
The free speech on display also came from those who believe Brett Kavanaugh is the right choice.
I've just had it, and I just feel like I need to support my president, Judge Kavanaugh, and my country.
Many stood up for sexual assault victims and against Judge Brett Kavanaugh, who fought back against decades-old sexual misconduct allegations.
This is not okay with American women.
Others said they believed Kavanaugh's denials over Christine Blasey Ford's accusation.
There's no evidence to corroborate her claims, and you're going to ruin his life. Is that fair?
A rare comment from the First Lady, ending her Africa tour in Egypt.
Judge Kavanaugh, I think he's highly qualified for the Supreme Court. I'm glad that Dr. Ford was heard.
At the White House, President Trump left for a campaign trip.
I think he's going to make us all very proud. I also feel very strongly that in the end, maybe the process, it was really unattractive, but the extra week was something that I think was really good.
Inside the Senate chamber, Democrats argued their next step must be action on Election Day.
There is one answer: vote.
While Republicans embraced their narrow victory.
Judge Brett Kavanaugh is among the very best our nation has to offer. He will make the Senate and the country proud.
With the vice president presiding, protesters tried to interrupt the actual vote.
The sergeant-at-arms will restore order in the gallery.
But the narrow margin was enough.
On this vote, the ayes are 50, the nays are 48. The nomination of Brett M. Kavanaugh of Maryland to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States is confirmed.
And Brett Kavanaugh will be sworn in privately tonight as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News, the White House.
For more on today's historic vote and its impact, I want to bring in our chief White House correspondent, Hallie Jackson, along with Casey Hunt on Capitol Hill. Casey, if I can begin with you. This contentious battle is, openly really some deep partisan rifts in the Senate and across the country. Is there any sense from either side how they want to try and heal this divide?
You're right, Lester. The country is more divided than ever, and so is the Senate. And this fight just turned those divisions into open wounds. One Republican said that the Senate has absolutely hit rock bottom. And tonight we are exactly 1 month out from the midterm elections. Both sides expect an absolute brawl. Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says that the protesters, and he called them the mob, have done what he wasn't able to do by himself, and that's energize the Republican base. But for Democrats, the stakes really could not be higher. This fight might make it harder for some Senate Democrats in red states to keep their seats, but it could make the path to win back the House for Democrats that much easier. Lester.
All right, and Hallie, what are you hearing from the president?
Well, the president tonight, Lester, is dismissing those protests that we've seen here in Washington, and he's dismissing, it seems in large part, Christine Blasey Ford's sexual assault accusation against Brett Kavanaugh, saying to reporters he is 100% certain that she named the wrong person. Remember, it was just about a week ago that he said that Ford's testimony was compelling and credible. But pull back, make no mistake about it. Tonight is a major political win for this president. I'm told he is feeling confident and optimistic about how this plays into the midterms. He's been seeing the polling, the Republican enthusiasm Casey's talking about. The question is it a sugar high or can it last